Hey everybody, Jeff Joyner here. And today I want to share with you what I learned about people when I lost 50 pounds. If you've been following me for a while or if you've known me for a long time, you may have known that my weight has fluctuated a little bit over the years. When I graduated college and got married, I think I weighed about 185 pounds. I was playing sports every day back in those days. And then, like a lot of people, settled into a more sedentary lifestyle, driving instead of walking, a lot more sitting around, in the workplace. And so I gained a bunch of weight. Like 30 years ago, I did the Atkins diet when it first came out, lost a bunch of weight. Everyone's like, man, you look good. And then I put it back on and kind of a little bit of a yo-yo diet. And, recently I just got tired of it. I said, I'm in my 50s now. I got to get control of my weight, and kind of the wake up call was I stepped on the scale on New Year's Day and it was 250 pounds. And I was looking down like 250. My first thought was, oh my God, that's an eighth of a ton. That's how they weigh pickup trucks. And I said, all right, that is too heavy for me. I can't believe I've let myself get this heavy. I need to make some changes. And so I made some pretty radical changes in my daily routine and in terms of the food that I was eating. And I've been getting great results. And I've lost the weight. I'm working on keeping it off. And I'm pretty hopeful about that because I'm not dieting. I've really made some long-term changes in my life that I think are going to get results. But the point of this video is the fascinating circumstances that happen when people notice that I've lost a lot of weight. So the nature of my world is there's some people I see a couple times a year or once a year. When they see me, they're like, oh my gosh, you look great. You lost a lot of weight. What do you do? They always ask the same thing. What are you doing? And it's really not that mysterious. Here's a preview. If you see somebody who's lost a lot of weight, here's what they're doing. Diet and exercise. It's related to that always. And so I've been sharing with people, here's what, and interestingly, the reactions that people give me, the replies fall into one of four categories, and really that's it. And so I've kind of been having some fun when people ask me now, oh, so what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'll tell you what I'm doing, but only if you want to make some changes in your life. If you're just curious about what I'm doing, then it's a waste of my time. And it might just make you feel bad about yourself. And so I don't just blurt it out there, but when people are like, no, seriously, I'd like to get in better shape. I'd like to be healthier. What are you doing? And I'm like, okay, I'll tell you. Let me give you, and I'll tell all of you in a minute if you're curious, but I'll tell you and I tell other people, I'll give you a preview. It's difficult, what I'm doing. It takes discipline and focus, and you'd have to make some pretty serious changes on how you spend your time, your money, your energy, and your focus. But I'll tell you if you really want to know. And people say, yeah. And so I tell them, what I'm doing. In a nutshell, what I'm doing is, number one, I quit eating sugar. I have had an addiction to sugar my whole life. And people tell me, well, sugar's okay in moderation. I'm like, well, maybe, but I've never had sugar in moderation. I'm the guy that has 2 donuts in the morning and brownies for lunch and ice cream before bed every night. And lots of food that turns into sugar after you eat it, like pasta and bread and snacks and chips and all that kind of stuff. And so I've just decided, you know what, enough. I've had enough sugar for any 5 normal people in their lifetime. I'm done. I'm not taking a break from sugar. I am done eating sugar. Sugar was killing me. So I haven't had any sugar this year. It's first week of September right now, 2023, and I haven't had any sugar this year. And I don't plan on going back to it. It was an addiction. I will admit that I had a problem with sugar. And so I don't need that to be happy. It's not a healthy part of my life. One of the things I've decided is that being healthy feels better than being unhealthy tastes. Sugar tastes great. I love how it tastes. Cookies and brownies and milkshakes and ice cream and pie and cake and desserts and donuts. I love it. But it's just a bad decision for me. And so I'm done. So no sugar. I've been way cutting my carbs. I've been trying to do as close as I can to zero carbs. Eating a lot of chicken, a lot of steak, vegetables, but staying away from bread and pasta and potatoes and French fries and fast food. Haven't had any of that this whole year, and don't plan on going back. And so no sugar, cutting my carbs. I've been trying to exercise every day. You may know that I've been playing a lot of pickleball. I really got into that. And when I'm not traveling, I try to play a little bit every day if I can. And if not, some disc golf, ride my bike around the neighborhood, go for a walk, but somehow get some exercise every day. Sometimes it's hard when I travel. Sometimes just running through the airport is my exercise. But a lot more exercise, more regularly than I've been getting in a long time. And so no sugar, cutting carbs, a lot more exercise. And the other thing is a little intermittent fasting, that I am not eating after 3 o'clock. I get up, have an excess protein shake in the morning, and have one of those every morning like clockwork. And then, do whatever I'm doing. I have a low carb lunch, usually around 1:30, 2 o'clock. But at 3 o'clock, I'm done. I'm not eating at night anymore. And that's working for me. And when I first started doing that, I'd go to bed sometimes hungry, but then I'd wake up not hungry. I'm like, I think my body was chowing down on a stored fat smorgasbord all night. And so anyway, that's what I'm doing. But here's the interesting part of the story. None of that is all that interesting, I think. It's really not that surprising, probably. But the part that's interesting is when I tell people what I'm doing, I've seen 4 types of responses. The first I call the defeated self-doubters. They're the people that as soon as I start talking about what I'm doing, they're like, oh, I could never do that. I couldn't do it. I say, well, I had no sugar. They're like, I'm out. They're like, no, I could never do it. They don't believe in themselves. Doesn't matter that it worked for me. They don't believe in themselves at all, and their chances of getting their weight or their health under control. Number 2 is the negotiators. These are the people that are interested, but not committed. They're like, no sugar or a little sugar. 3 o'clock always. What about 7 o'clock? And they want to negotiate the price of getting results. And, to me, it means that they believe in themselves, but they just don't want enough to have change in their life. And those people aren't going to make any changes in their life when they're negotiating the cost of getting results. The third type of person is the critical debaters, who, as soon as I tell them what I'm doing, start debating me, start telling me how unhealthy it is. Oh, low carb diets, that's bad for your kid. Oh no, you need to have some carb, you need to have some sugar in your diet. It's important. I hope you're eating some fruit. They just start immediately tearing it down. Oh, too much exercise, you could really hurt yourself. And it's fascinating, right? People that either don't want to change, they're just looking for an excuse to tear down what I'm doing, to take the spotlight off of their lack of healthiness. I've had some very large people tell me what I'm doing is unhealthy. I had a very large person with a donut in her hand telling me how it's okay to eat sugar and what I was doing wasn't healthy. And I was like, this is fascinating. But the existence of my results threatens how they feel about themselves, because they're totally unwilling to make any changes in their life. And so they will attack, criticize, tear anyone else down. Kind of like crabs in a bucket, if you've heard that analogy. You put a crab in a bucket, they climb out. You put 3 cat crabs in a bucket, and when one of them tries to climb up, the other 2 will grab it and pull it down, and they'll stay in there until they all die. And so the debaters, fascinating. And the 4th type of person hears about what I'm doing and the changes I make, and I call them the ambitious believers. They're like, hey man, that sounds awesome. If it worked for you, I bet it would work for me. Give me some advice. Give me a little coaching. Would you be willing to hold me accountable? And I've been able to help a few other people get a little control over their health and their wellness. And I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not an expert in any of this stuff. But I share with them the results that I'm getting and how I'm getting it. and some of my strategies, and they just believe. They believe in themselves. They want to make changes. They believe in the ability to change and grow and take control of their life, and it's pretty amazing to see. And so all of that's been interesting. But even that's not the most interesting part of the story. The part that's been really interesting to me is I've seen a correlation to other conversations I've had in my life. One of the things you may know about me is that I own several companies, and one of them is a business where I teach people how to start a small business, run it in their spare time, generate an additional income stream, and make more money for them and their family. It usually starts off small, could turn into something pretty big down the road. And so I've been talking to people about this opportunity for decades. And you know what I never really noticed until I went through my experience with the weight loss in those conversations is that I've run into the exact same kinds of people over the years when I talk to them about business opportunities. Some people, when I tell them, hey, I own a business that generate income in my spare time, it's been very fulfilling, something for my wife and I to work on together as opposed to our separate careers. Something that has helped me grow and develop. I've learned a lot of the lessons about life from doing this, business project. And some people, when I tell them about what I'm doing and propose that they do it too, and that I'll help them do it, they are the defeated self-doubters. They're like, oh, I could never own my own business. I've tried things like that and they never work for me. My wife would never let me do something like that. My parents told me not to get my hopes up. They just don't believe in themselves and their ability to be successful financially or really any other way, which is sad when I encounter that, but it's exactly the same kind of thing that I've seen with these, wellness conversations. Another type of person when I talk to about, business opportunity, they are the negotiators. They're like, well, how many hours a week did you put into that? And I'm like, well, it's different for everybody. I can tell you my experience on kind of what I did, that I focused on this in addition to the other things that I was doing. But put some serious effort and focus into it, right? It's not just sign up and get rich quick. It takes a lot of work. Well, how much work? How much have you spent? Do you have to read books? Because I don't like to read. Do you have to go to conferences? Because I don't like going to conferences. And they negotiate themselves right out of opportunity. And those people never succeed, rarely even get started. And if they do get started, they certainly don't finish strong. The third type of person is the critical debaters, the people who tell me, oh, those things don't work. Oh, that's a scam. Oh my gosh, you're going to lose your shirt. And I'm like, well, I've had to buy some bigger shirts over the years when I gained weight, but I haven't lost my shirt yet. And just criticizing anyone else. Sometimes I have some fun with them and I'm like, well, so this is my strategy, for long-term, financial prosperity. What's your strategy? What would you recommend? And they never really have anything. But they just want to criticize and tear everybody down. It's crabs in a bucket again. But there's a fourth type of person that when I say, hey, here's what I'm doing that's working for me and my family in terms of income and something for us to be passionate about and work on together, they are the ambitious believers. And they say, hey, if it worked for you, it would probably work for me. What do I need to do to get rolling? And I've helped lots of people around the country start a small business, start generating some income for their family. I coach them, I mentor them. I have a whole team of mentors that are working with me too and work with those people. And it's basically, a team-based approach to business ownership. It's very fulfilling. And I have some, relationships. I got some people that I've been working with for 20 years doing that. And we've become very close friends, and it's very rewarding. And I don't pat myself on the back for that. Really, it has more to do with them and that they believed in themselves, believed in opportunity when they saw it. They recognized it. They were willing to discipline themselves and work hard. And the ones who've gotten results, it's the same exact thing as the diet. And so that's what I've learned about people. And just like I learned years ago to not feel bad, when someone says no to working with me, about self-employment, and it says less about me than it does about them. The same thing when people are criticizing what I'm doing with my dietary choices and my, workout regimen. That it says more about them than it does about me. I'm going to keep living my life the way that I think is best. I'm going to keep openly sharing with anybody. Here's what I'm doing to get results in different parts of my life. The people that want to come along for the ride, come along. The people that want to make some changes, make some changes. The people that don't, God bless you. Probably don't need to be spending your time sitting around criticizing me and my choices, but that really is up to you. And again, says more about you than it does about me. So, what I've learned about people since I've lost 50 pounds is that people are predictable, right? And they behave in very, very predictable ways. And it just fascinates me. I love working about people. The best thing about being self-employed is you get to work with a lot of people. The worst thing is that you have to work with a lot of people. and I've met some winners and I've met some losers, to be honest with you. But I love them all, and I try to help everybody. But hope that helps you. Maybe think through some of the decisions you're making in your life. Be a wise consumer of information, right? Just don't. If you just believe everything, you're going to, fall for, some scam. And so it's okay to be a little skeptical about things and, to do some research. When I say research, by the way, I recommend if you're evaluating an opportunity or a weight loss program or whatever, that you talk to someone who's getting results, not somebody who quit, not somebody who didn't have the discipline or courage or whatever to stick with it. Talk to somebody who's getting results, doing what you're considering doing. And see if the price that's required is something that you're willing to pay. So, hope that makes sense. Catch you guys later.